Davis and Beadle on Colorado Sports Leader, the team 1340 for the Valley, 1490 for the I-70 corridor, always streaming at the team1340.com. Good to have you along today. Beadle, how's it going back there? We're getting there. Okay. Yes, we continue to expand our technical capabilities, trying some things that hopefully become a commonplace for us in the future. But out here at the Doubletree Hotel, and Chancellor Phil DiStefano, his summer tour. I haven't seen the summer tour T-shirts though from Mr. DiStefano. Hopefully, Junction on the back, the other sites that the guys are going to. It would be really nice to have those. But yeah, like you said, Ralphie in some kind of tie-dye look. Since like a tour T-shirt, that'd be very nice if they do that. Just some ideas, guys, here for you to use. But with us right now, Mike Bohn, Athletic Director of the University of Colorado, Mike Rohn, who's the assistant to Tad Boyle with the men's basketball team, and Darian Hagan from the University of Colorado football team, the great quarterback for the Buffaloes back in the day. And Mike, let's start out with you. First, welcome to Grand Junction. Glad you guys can make it over to our neck of the woods and pay us a visit.
Well, thank you very much. It's tremendous for you guys to make such an effort to have an opportunity to set up this little set here. People on radio can't see it, but we were joking. We kind of feel like match game with the three of us sitting up here in these chairs with this little backdrop, and you're a wonderful host. So thank you very much for coming out. The Western Slope is important to us, and a lot of great alums out here, a lot of former players in this region as well, and a rich sports part of the state as well. So it's a pleasure to be here, and I salute you again for making the effort to set this all up.
Well, Mike, we appreciate it. Of course, one of our own, Ryer Gear, played over at CU not that long ago, trying to make his way, find a spot in the NFL, hopefully maybe with the Tennessee Titans for Ryer Gear. But it's just about here, Mike. Next month it'll be official that the Colorado Buffaloes will be part of the Pac-12. I know you're excited. You were excited when the announcement came out about a year ago that this was going to happen. About a year ago this time, that Colorado would join the Pac-10, now the Pac-12, and the preparations continue. But I know closer to the finish line, the start of Pac-12 play than we were a year ago.
Well, there's no question about it. And when you think back, there actually was a discussion about not joining the Pac-12 until 2012. And I really have to salute our chancellor for having the courage to say, hey, look, we've got to go now. And you think of the momentum the league was able to create because of that. We're able to start the Pac-12 championship game, which will be national televised on Fox broadcast. That's the same channel that obviously hosts the Super Bowl. That's a big deal for us. And then to be able to keep that momentum going in the development of the largest multimedia rights package of $3 billion over the next 12 years, which is the largest in the history of college sports. So my hat's off to the commissioner, but also the Phil DiStefano, who helped make that decision with us to come early and keep that momentum going. And now we have the ability to play this upcoming fall and upcoming season in the Pac-12.
And you go into a situation like in the Pac-12 with the TV deal with Fox and ESPN, where it's going to be roughly $21 million heading CU's way. And Commissioner Larry Scott has mentioned the possibility, NCAA has to approve it first, of scholarship dollars being upped a little bit for student athletes in light of what's been going on with the Ohio State situation. That student athletes across the board in the Pac-12 would get some additional dollars. Like I said, NCAA still has to sign off on this. Give me your reaction to that, because I think it's a step in the right direction. I don't know if it's ever going to totally address the problem, but at least I think it's the right step in the right direction, depending on the conference, though, because not every conference is going to have the spoils of wealth that the Pac-12 is going to have.
Well, I think that clearly student athlete welfare is always our number one issue. We want to ensure our student athletes have the ability to be successful, to have the support they have academically and the financial support to help them with the challenges of being a student athlete. And I believe that nationally, you look at, I believe the Big Ten had a big discussion about that. In fact, the Big Ten leadership and their athletic directors will be joining the Pac-12, our commissioner and our athletic directors as well, and have a discussion and see if we can't build some synergy as two leading conferences in the nation and talk about that, whether we add a cost of attendance element to the scholarship so that we can provide some additional resources to those student athletes to help them pull that together. So it's something that is obviously very, very important across the country, and I believe the Big Six, if we will, the BCS conferences will be the ones that will lead that and pull that together. And so the question is, where does this lead as far as the future of intercollegiate athletics, and where does the BCS institutions differentiate themselves from everyone else in the country, from the Mountain West, the WAC, and this parts of the country to the MAC and Sun Belt Conference. So it's an interesting time. It'll be interesting to see how it comes together.
Mike Bohn, Senior Athletic Director, with us. So we're at the DoubleTree Hotel, part of the summer tour with the Buffaloes, and Chancellor Phil DeStefano over here on the Western Slope. Also, Darian Hagan, we're talking with Darian, and Mike Rohn, the assistant coach at Tad Boyle with the men's basketball team. Mike, when I mentioned the deal with ESPN and Fox, it's a huge deal. It's great for everybody involved in the Pac-12. Certainly the Buffaloes will benefit from it. What about baseball? Because we just wrapped up the Junior College Baseball World Series, and once again, it pops up in the John Henderson article about money that Colorado has. Certainly there's debt things to take care of in those issues with the institution, but where are we with baseball? Is there still, what's the likelihood of that coming back to Colorado?
Well, I tell you, I'm a former student athlete, baseball player myself. I played a little bit of football as well, and in fact, my brother was a very successful all-league player here for Mesa, so I understand that baseball element and the importance of it. However, as we just told our alumni, and your listeners that are listening can also understand this, we're working really hard on our shoulder-to-shoulder initiative, which is based out of the fight song, and really working hard to pull together donors, sponsors, escalate the number of alumni that are investing in our program, our season ticket sales in basketball and football, to help generate the revenue streams to support the 16 sports that we have, but also have the opportunity to look at adding additional sports. For example, I know that lacrosse, both on the men's and women's side over here on the Western Slope, is a fastest growing sport, and that is representative of the rest of the state as well. So in the event we add a new sport, as these finances come together, we won't see new dollars with the Pac-12 for another 18 months. But as that begins to come together, as we begin to raise more money with the idea that 50,000 CU alumni are in the Pac-12 footprint versus 15,000 in the Big 12, that we can ignite and excite our alumni base. Currently, of our donor base, 67% come from non-alumni. Okay, so that's awesome and very, very impressive, because Colorado's a melting pot of people from all over the country. However, we've got to raise the number of donations and contributions and involvement from alumni to help us, because that'll give us an opportunity to look at adding new sports. And in the event we add a new sport, it'll probably be a women's sport first to help us with our Title IX commitment. And then we can start looking at baseball, softball as maybe a tandem, or maybe just baseball, and looking at that. So we hear the baseball question a lot, but will we have the ability to generate the support very similar to what Mesa has had over here? And when Chief was the coach here and did a great job in this community, it now supports the JUCO World Series. That is phenomenal. Well, that's because of support and intensity of interest in the sport. So if we can generate a higher intensity of interest in not only the entire athletic program, but an intensity of interest in baseball as well, then we certainly can look at it. So I think that's something that we're going to have to wage and look at that down the road. So it's certainly a possibility, but again, how can we generate the excitement and energy to put it together? Our scholarship bill to the University of Colorado for our student athletes is $9 million per year. You add a women's sport, which I mentioned, to help us with our Title IX commitment, and you add baseball, you're looking at another $2 million per year. That's an ongoing expense just associated with the scholarships associated with those student athletes. So it's not cheap, but it's certainly something we'd like to do and like to expand upon. We'd like to keep the top talent in the state, whether it's basketball, baseball, football, and have them having the ability to compete in the Pac-12, which is the Conference of Champions. And I don't know if you watched on ESPN last night, but Arizona State won the national championship. The Pac-12 conference has won more national championships than any other conference in the nation by 2x. So they've won over 400 now, and then you add the national championships that the University of Colorado's won 24 more onto that. Gives you an idea of the quality of the institutions we're going to be competing against. So we're going to have to raise the bar, all of us collectively, to include leaders like you in this sports business, talking about Colorado and talking about what we're trying to do to build that, because it's a very, very competitive conference, and we're going to have to step it up to be successful in this league.